Okay, welcome back, everyone. I am. I made a video, a longer video, and I'm gonna put that link in uh, the comments of one of my posts or a post that I'm about to make. Um, and I'm gonna put this link as well. This is gonna be shorter because I'm trying to be mindful that individuals, we're all doing a lot. So, and I think this is that important that I want you to take it in enough to go to the longer video because I go into a little bit more detail there. And you know, the crux of my concern, or I'm extremely concerned about the state of things in our country because of not so much the vitriol. I mean, the vitriol is there, and it's getting worse, and that's probably um, that's definitely some of my concern. But the the thing is, like, there's such a simple fix to each one's personal walk or way of taking in information and disseminating information. Instead of passing on lies, um, let's take the information and not call someone a liar, but say, you know what, I don't know if this is true or not. This is new to me, and then go and having a process to go look for it. Because what's happening is, if we trust the source because we like them, then we take the information in as the truth and we pass it on. If we don't trust the source because we don't know them, then we don't take the information in on, and we don't um go do the research. And often, most often, we don't go do the research, so that information doesn't have a chance to teach us, right? Because we won't accept it, and because of who it's coming from, right? So that's going on a lot in our country. That's going on a lot, so much so that um we're fighting over arguments and premises that are lies. We're fighting over lies. And so that's crazy to me, right? So we're nearly destroying our society, the fabric of our society, because we won't take the time and energy to go find the truth and then spread that. Right. So let's do that, yo. And so I'm gonna make this short. I'm gonna try to make it short because I want you to catch it. I'm going to tell you that this is. I was thinking I might switch this around. America's emergency, or I said emergency in America. Lies pervade public and private discourse, and we don't even know we are lying. Right. And so it's more precisely would be like passing or disseminating disinformation. Right. We're passing along propaganda. Right. And um and so, I don't want to be passing on someone else's agenda. I just don't. I don't want to perpetuate a lie. And so, like, I try to, and we're all gonna be imperfect, right? But if we do this process, I believe we can start to eliminate some of the confusion. So one of my friends, one of my brothers sent me. We send each other stuff a lot, and just kind of check it out. So I checked it out, and there was a claim made in it that I wasn't sure was true. So he sent me a video that he had come across on the internet, and it spoke, and it was an older black gentleman with. I'll give you context. A little older black gentleman with I think I recall a beard and a small beard and like a garb, right? I don't know what the garb was. I don't know what the spirituality or religious significance, if any, there was, but he was calling out black churches in America for singing "Amazing Grace," which was written by John Newton, who was a slave trader, and he said, "Hey, listen, you guys are glorifying this man who was a slave trader and hated you, and he said he listed a bunch of things, and one he said he raped slaves. So, and I had never heard that about John Newton, so I just didn't know. In fact, I'll tell you in a minute, but I'll just say now, I see, like, and we know this, that people obscure certain things for certain reasons. And through my searches, I didn't find a lot about rape, but I did see a lot about his hard times and his conversion. And so, we have to always think about what are the motives for not saying this if it's true, or um, is this person presenting this claim to further his argument that black churches shouldn't play Amazon Amazing Grace, right? Because when someone makes an argument, if there's a claim in it that is speculation and it's woven around, there's facts that cloak it, we might take the argument as great because it has good logics. It's coming from a person we trust. It's got all truths and research and data is all facts, except for one phrase or clause or thought that is speculation, and that's the one that the originator of this, they may be ignorant to the fact that that's speculation, but in most instances today, they're not. It's strategic. It's strategic to stoke emotion and behavior towards an end. Uh, the person who put that speculation woven with facts and good logics is a person who is strategically trying to influence others based around the speculation, and it's an emotional appeal, and it's working, and we see it today. So, with the process and just slowing things down, we can and seeking to understand and taking the time to do it. We can say like we want to understand, but if we don't take the time to do it, our body language is telling us. So, okay, so the first, so I said, well, did he rape? So the first Google search I did was I said, did John Newton rape his slaves, right? This is what I came up with, and in the longer video, it breaks it down how I then after I found. Well, let me say this. This is like the third or fourth Google search. The first few did not find anything. This one is the one that found only one thing. So I was starting to be skeptical of the claim, actually. But I kept it open to the fact that maybe the other Christian churches and publications are hiding it, because they don't want people to not love Amazing Grace. So, that's the wrong reason. We should never hide information. So, here, this came up with one, and it was this is the publication, the Christian Science Monitor. I don't know a lot about it, Christian Science. Or is this a Christian Scientist, or is this the church movement or another church movement? So I went and searched this publication and who owned it to see, okay, what is the motivation? Maybe there's a motivation for this author, and I can speculate that. So intention speculation is one of the cruxes of the problem. Intentions, and I don't think I put it on the other one. So intention speculation. So that's what we do, and I suspect it's a mechanism, I mean, cultural mechanism, that it's a evolutionary cultural mechanism. This is my field of study, culture anthropology, and I'm not nowhere near an expert. So this is conjecture or speculation, and I need to qualify this because if I don't, then I become part of the problem. So, and this is what we have to do. We have to qualify our conjecture and speculation, so we're not deceiving people. And so, I speculate that it's an evolutionary cultural mechanism to do this intention speculation. And someone else may have found this. I haven't seen this anywhere else. And I will give credit to anyone that I find something from. But this is something I've been reflecting on as I notice that when something happens, I do it. We all do it with my friends. We speculate as to the motivations. And I think it's just like a mechanism to help prepare us maybe for attack or something that is we don't know why something's happening, but we speculate so that way it'll help prepare us just a little bit more or better for when that does happen, right? But what happens when we're wrong, right? And so that's what's happening. We're wrong. We're wrong a lot too, and we're not taking that into consideration. And so we're just saying that when we intentionally speculate and we all come together and we kind of hone down, oh, that's probably it. No, that becomes it in our minds and in our walk and everything we do. Like everything we say after that. If we engage with this person, that's the reason why. As much as we say is we try and separate it, I'm finding that a lot of people are not separating because you see it when it's repeated again at a time down the road, you see that the intention speculation becomes woven into other information that are facts, that are true. And when that happens, when the intention speculation becomes conjecture speculation presented as fact, we are lying to each other. We are deceiving each other. And most often not intentionally because we don't catch it, right? So if your intention speculate, note that in your mind that you guys are doing that, and someone have the courage to say it then, say, okay, well, look, we don't know.
we think this, there's a good chance maybe, but we don't know. So let's suspend that and let's ask questions with and with curiosity, and be like a person who doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? So that way you can find out if it's true, because when it's not, it's problematic. You know what I'm saying? You're really deceiving and passing along disinformation. That's one avenue. That's one part of the problem. So and then I searched these sources, so you can go into that. But one thing within the this source that had it, here's the language. It says he hints in his journals that before his marriage, he joined other sailors in raping females. So it says he hints. That's not strong language. So basically, this whoever's read this is implying it out of the literature. So, and I didn't find it. I didn't find it anywhere else. This was my fourth search. This is the first time I found it, and this is the only source that I found that said he raped anything. So I'm, my spice sense is up. I'm a little skeptical, but I'm like, okay, well, I gotta refine my search. Well, yeah, I gotta do a lot more. This is just a preliminary. This is a preliminary search. If you want to be accurate and truthful, you have to put the due diligence in, and there's no other way. And so, and if you don't do that, then you don't mind lying, and you don't mind perpetuating a lie. You just don't. You haven't done your due diligence. So and I hate to be sarcastic. Please forgive the tone and the energy, but it is that important. It's that important that we start to learn how to know to decipher truth from falsities and not disseminate, not be a part of the problem. So here's the thing. And we're all imperfect, and I'm part of, I do it too. So I recognize that, but I also work real hard not to. But so here we go. So that's not. So I'm leaning against it, but I'm also looking at this author and some of the things in this author red flags. They talked only briefly about a childhood that others talked about. He had a difficult childhood. I mean, he was kidnapped. He was thrown into the slave trade business at a young age, and now you never justify any behavior like this. But why is this author? Is my question is why is my author not highlighting that when other authors did? So maybe this author has a motivation. I don't know. So I say, well, then I came back after I did the search on the who owned the publication, and okay, well then did the search on her, like a more, and so well, I didn't go. Let me say that I didn't go all the way. I would have done that. I would go into the right that, but I just said, let me change the question, and I only changed one word. I said, well, if I said his in the first one, did John Newton rape his slaves? Right. Well, that means he owned them, and I don't know if he ever owned them. I didn't even look into that. But if he did, it would have been later. So I said, what if he raped him when he was younger? So I said, okay, well, let me change the question. Did John Newton rape any slaves? And that's when I got a really good source, and I got some highlight marks here where you have I see this is the quote that came up on the Google search. Now that's not much of a quote, but it tells me a lot. And then and like and I think I don't know if I said it here, another one, or in my mind sometimes, but I have an eye and an ear that's tuned in for this, and I know scholars that are even way better than me, but it's like my friends who have they're good in music, and they have an ear for things in music that I can't never hear. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? This is one that that I think is important that I can and I have to, put this out there. So please watch this and the other one. But there's similarities in both. This was a little shorter. But what I did notice here is few things. One is that uh, this number right here, the 33, is a citation, or they may have an author's name in a number, which that's the page number. That indicates to me that it's a good work. It might be a scholarly work, or someone who's using the scientific process in writing a scholarly work, or someone who's mimicking it possibly and using pseudoscience, which is like I said, it's just the same as what people do. But pseudoscience is like an effort to paint this finding or research as scientific, but woven in it is either bad logics, which is often not the case because you can catch that quick. But most often it's you have, like I said, you have facts and findings from legit research, great good information, and you have a good logical base with scientific process that looks like it was followed, and then there's some speculation that's in woven in there somewhere, and you have to have a keen eye to catch it, but it throws off the whole thing because that's what they want you to get. So, you watch for that. But if you see a scholarly piece, this lets you know that if it's in a journal, that it was peer reviewed and other scholars have already done all that for you. You don't have to do that. So if you could check the sources, you can short circuit the process where you don't have to know if there was an error in one of those things, right? If they're using speculation to trick you to do something, right? So here's another thing that was good: conjecturing and probably rape slaves. This is what I call is probabilistic language, or if you want to think of it like probability language. This is language that says there's a degree of certainty, a great chance that this happened, but there's also a degree that it didn't. We don't know for 100, right? So, and that's important because when you use that language to not say for certain, and you don't, if you don't use probabilistic language, like give a chance that it could be wrong, you close the door on you being able to see information that might change how you look at this. Might be truthful information. Like you might come across a piece of information that says he did not rape somebody, but you will not accept it because you've already kind of closed that door when you didn't use this probability language when you said he did rape someone. And so this is an important point that I'd have to go back and watch the video, but I think I caught the man being very adamant that he raped him. And so these scholars are using probabilistic language. That is a better, more balanced approach because that gentleman may have closed the door on him finding something that would overturn his wrong opinion if it was wrong. I think he's right in this one though, but I still would like him to use some better language because it helps you to be open and flexible to information in the future that is gonna help inform you and your perspective that is important. So, and we always want that, right? We don't want to be closed-minded. So use language that helps you to be open-minded. And so here's the thing. So I saw that and I clicked the link on the source and found this. It's a scholarly journal, love it. And it gives the references, his author and everything. I would look into the author and the journal. I'd look into them both. Who's the author? Does he have other writings or the author above? Do they have writings that indicate their political biases or other biases? And so the journals, do the journals have owners? They might say scholarly journal, that's beautiful. But the fact that it says scholarly journal, because I'm an academic journal, I think is all scholarly journals. So the fact that it says scholarly journal, I would look into that. But everything here indicates, but that's why it's so tricky because you have to keep going further. I can't stop. I'm not going to say, you're never going to hear me say for sure without some better sources and scientific, like some revelations that I know for certain, you know what I'm saying? And probably you might not never hear me know that. If you hear me say that, please correct me because didn't you say to not use that language? And because that's important for me. That's really important because when I'm in that phase, I'm usually in ego phase if I'm saying something like that, 100% certain on human behavior or predicting intention or something like that. Yeah, I'm wrong. So here, scholarly journal, boom, and then I put a little bit about the peer review process in this, and I'm gonna upload this and post this in a minute here, and links to this shorter video and the longer video. But check your sources, and if you go to the scholarly journal, you go and see who owns it, and you look at reviews about it. And here, this is in fact a review about a book, and that's why I'm glad I just thought about that. This is a review. I love reviews about articles or works in scholarly journals or journals that are from academics and scholars who have followed the peer review process. Others who know the space have looked at their work, said that they have followed everything right. Their conclusions could still be wrong. We might find something else down the road, but their conclusions are based on sound process and sound logics, right? And so once that's the case, we can have a common standard here with which we can communicate. If we do that and we do our due diligence, I guarantee you will pass on a lot less information. And even when you do, it will be with the humility and heart that knows that I don't know everything to a 100% degree certainty, especially in this instance. And there's a chance that I'm wrong. And when you use language like that, You invite people to investigate. You invite yourself to investigate it further when life or life's experiences bring something to you to make you do that. I thank you for listening, and I'm gonna end there. And I know I missed something that I really wanted to hit, but I will continue to put stuff out. Take care and be blessed.